Last week, in the early hours of Tuesday morning, reports started coming into authorities in Maui County, Hawaii, of fires spotted in a number of adjacent neighborhoods on the island. Within just a few hours, police began circling neighborhoods, calling out frantically on megaphones for people to evacuate. What no one seemed to know at the time was that what was about to unfold would be the single most horrific natural disaster in the state's history. The scenes left behind from the fire's rampage are literally apocalyptic in nature. All that's left behind is a vast wasteland of devastation that looks akin to something one would see in areas ravaged by war and weaponry. Thus far, nearly 100 lives have been lost, making it the single deadliest fire in U.S. history. Thus far, all told, nearly 2,000 buildings have been destroyed. Now, the cause of the fires was said originally to be downed power lines knocked down by hurricane-level winds that caused the dry, combustible, overgrown grasses of a number of abandoned farms in Maui to catch fire. But a growing number of people remain unconvinced by such an explanation, and they are instead concerned that something else far more nefarious is actually to blame for the fires. One scene that's left many perplexed is an aerial view showing the fire burning in what appears to be a circle. In other words, the fires appear to be, in effect, mapped out, organized, if you will, in a way that you wouldn't expect natural phenomena to act. All that's to say, a number of conspiracy theories are indeed swirling around the deadly fires. Now, let's make sure we understand at the top, just because something is a conspiracy theory does not mean that it isn't true. The term basically came of age with the Warren Commission and was used to disparage competing theories about what happened to JFK and his assassination. But it's important to understand that conspiracies, of course, have indeed happened historically, and they continue to happen. That's not even a disputable point. Conspiracies have happened, and they do happen. So just because an explanation involves the conjecture of a conspiracy doesn't mean it ought to be automatically dismissed or disparaged. By the same token, right now as we speak, we do not know what actually happened in Maui. We don't know how these fires were started, but having acknowledged that, there are some very interesting, shall we say, convergences going on here. Let's start with where the fires occurred. Here's Matt Kim.
Several wildfires have broken out on the island of Maui, creating mass devastation and destruction, most notably the town of Lahaina. This is not the people's fault, and our hearts go out to those affected. Why is Lahaina significant? It was once the capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii, prior to the forced U.S. annexation and the eventual move to Honolulu. Lahaina is filled with native property and business owners that have dug their heels in and have refused to sell their properties to conglomerates such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and Oprah. Unglobalized, prime oceanfront property still owned and managed by the natives. So what caused this destruction? Short answer, no one knows. All government agencies, local and federal, have vehemently stated that it is unknown. However, there are two competing theories online. One, environmental. The perfect combination of a major hurricane 200 miles off the southern shore of Maui, combined with northern pressure to create massive dryness and winds. Or two, diabolical. Something the conspiracy theorists call a DEW, direct energy weapon. What? I had the same response, so I started Googling. The first article that pops up when you Google Maui DEW is from Newsweek. It starts like this. The devastating wildfires in Hawaii have brought a new conspiracy theory from climate change deniers who suggest that the destruction was orchestrated by the federal government's direct energy weapons. Ugh. Anytime a propaganda media article starts with conspiracy theory by climate change deniers, makes me want to believe it more. And Maui is an island surrounded by water next to one of the largest U.S. military bases. Local residents are saying that they received no advanced warning and that they only evacuated once they saw the thick black smoke at their doors. Why was the federal response so slow on this matter, waiting until the fire had overtaken this area prior to action.
So there you have it. This is the first conspiracy theories were that these fires were deliberately set to displace the natives of Lahaina so as to enable conglomerates like BlackRock to move in. But while all alternative explanations agree that the fires were deliberately set in order to displace, they disagree over the role of a conglomerate like BlackRock. Others believe that what's happening in Hawaii is actually part of the green agenda from such nefarious actors such as the demons in Davos.
Now, the governor did say this is climate change doing this. Interesting. What they don't talk about is in January how they had in Maui a smart city conference to turn Maui into an entire smart island, changing everything to electric, renewables, solar panels, and pushing everybody into electric vehicles. 15-minute smart cities. So now what's also interesting is next month in September, Hawaii is hosting the Digital Government Summit, utilizing AI to govern the island. It's almost like they're resetting something to start rebuilding for this in which they're trying to push.
Hey gang, you know how you can really stick it to the establishment? Click on that link below and get your very own set of these collectible limited supply Trump cards. Patriots played their anti-globalist Trump card against the left in 2016, and we're already getting ready to play it again in 2024. So what better way to show your support for Trump's re-election than with these 5 collectible masterpieces of Trump art? These cards have a limited supply, so don't wait. Only 2,500 sets of these cards are set to be made, and they all come with a certificate of authenticity verifying you own an original set. These make great gifts for any maggot patriot in your life. And for you to buy 2 sets, you also get a bonus gold Trump 2024 card absolutely free. These physical cards are high quality, made in America, and highly collectible. But again, there's only a limited supply, so don't wait. By the time you remember, they'll likely be gone. So click on that link below right now and get your Trump cards today. Now, this notion that the fires were deliberately set in order to clear the area for the advent of something like 15-minute cities is nothing new. When the Dutch government sought to overly regulate and seize land from Dutch farmers, all in the name of these radical green policies of nitrogen reduction, this is how Eva Vlardingerbroek, a Dutch lawyer, explained the situation to Tucker Carlson.
What exactly is this about, and what do you think that it means?
Well, very simple, Tucker. What this is about is the Dutch government stealing our farmers' land. And they're doing this under the guise of a made-up nitrogen crisis. And that is basically going to put most of these farmers completely out of business. And thankfully, the Dutch farmers aren't having it. So they're going out on the streets, they're blocking distribution centers, they've blocked the high roads, they are fighting back. And they're right to do so. This is their life's work. They're really at their wits' end. They're devastated by what the government is doing. And, well, it's very clear that the government is not doing this because of a nitrogen crisis. They're doing this because they want these farmers' land, and they want it to house new immigrants. They also want it because the farmers are obviously standing in their way of the great reset plans that they have for us. So, yeah, farmers are hardworking, God-fearing, and especially self-sufficient people that are just standing in the way of their globalist agenda.
So as you can see, there's nothing new here. The concern is that in this case, these fires are intentionally attempting to displace Lahaina residents so as to create a green-initiated social reset. That's a suspicion that's been felt even across the pond. Now, like I said, just because they're conspiracy theories doesn't mean they're not true, and we do not know if any of them are true. We don't know at this point what started these fires and why officials were so clearly caught off guard. That said, we do know at least something with regard to all of these conspiracy theories. They clearly exemplify the fact that for an untold number of citizens in both Europe and the United States, our government and our economic institutions are simply no longer trusted. When all is said and done, millions upon millions of citizens in the West believe, for right or for wrong, that their political leaders are not merely incompetent. Their political leaders are downright wicked and evil. And when you believe that your leaders and possibly even your corporate executives are corrupt and compromised, and let's face it, often for good reason, then there's really very little to nothing you would put past them. Wicked people do wicked things. Corrupt people corrupt. And that, to me, is ultimately the origin of these conspiracy theories. To say it differently, these are the theories that our leaders are most deserving of, given how they've so openly and publicly compromised their integrity. As long as our leaders on both sides of the Atlantic continue to so brutally disappoint their respective populations, conspiracy theories, far more than fires, will continue to abound. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.